So let's just take a moment and just welcome what's here, all the parts of ourselves that are working really well, even in the midst of the unknown that might be happening around us. And bringing to mind any intention that might have brought you here today. And allowing that to rest in the circle of practice. I thought we'd start on our stomach today as part of our breath practice. And if getting into this position of the elbows under the shoulders is a challenge to start with, especially if you have any back issues or it's feeling tender, it's okay to start with your chin on your hands or the forehead on the ground. Or you can experiment with those different positions. I'm gonna start first with my fists, one on top of the other with my chin on the fists. We're gonna start with a practice of a 3-part breathing. And this 3-part is breathing into the belly to start. So as you breathe in, allowing the breath to deepen and feeling the stomach inflate and press onto the ground as you breathe. And exhale, maybe the exhalation a little longer than the inhalation. And if at any point the back starts to get tense, just making sure pressing down through the elbows, the forearms, and the palms equally. As we start to let the breath expand, as you inhale, breathe into the chest now. So allowing for the rib cage to expand to the sides as you breathe in. And if this feels challenging to start, it's going to get easier as we go into the practice. This is a blueprint of reference, of awareness. And then the last part of the breath is breathing into the shoulders here, expanding the area around the collarbones, the space between the neck and the collarbones. And it's a more shallow breath. We'll breathe just 5 repetitions here into that area. It's a shallow breath. And now we'll integrate all parts of the breath. So as you breathe in, breathing into the belly, expanding and continuing to let the breath move up to the chest and the shoulders. So it's the inhalation is in 3 places. The exhalation also descending from the top to bottom. So as you inhale, expanding the belly, the chest, and the shoulders. And as you exhale, release the shoulders, the ribs, the belly. We'll do that 3 more times here. And from here, just letting the head fall, bringing the forehead to the hands. We'll just pause here for a moment, letting the body let go. And sliding the elbows down towards the sides, we're going to move the hands underneath the shoulders, curling the toes under, and pressing the chest up and back. So that we're coming into a child's pose, but the toes are curled under here. We're just going to move back and forth, not coming down, back and forth between child's pose and all fours. You might need to adjust your hands a little bit. Inhaling as you move forward, exhaling as you move back. As you move forward, you'll feel the weight shift from the heels of the hands towards the joints of the fingers, just allowing the palms to spread wide. If you notice any discomfort in the wrists, you can put a pad under the heels of the hands or fold the mat over just to make sure you're not hurting yourself. And in these next movements, we're going to do the same movement, but concentrate on squeezing the buttocks, moving from the buttocks, squeezing forward, pressing the pelvis towards the mat, and lifting through the chest and back. Not a full-grown, but just a almost movement. So we're concentrating on squeezing the buttocks here. Squeezing the buttocks, exhale. And then one more. And coming to a pause on all fours. I'm going to take a moment here just to let the feet move out from the center and back, like windshield wipers on our knees. And coming to a pause. And drawing the belly into the spine as we exhale, rounding the back into cat pose. Inhale, releasing the belly. And coming into a reverse curve, lifting through the chest. And exhaling, rounding in the other direction. Really allowing that low back to rise towards the sky. And continue that movement with breathing. Keeping the elbows nice and soft. Meaning not locking the elbows. And coming back to all fours. A we'll go to thread the needle, taking the left hand, sliding it under the right arm, coming down onto the side of the head, the left shoulder. If this feels too extreme, you're welcome to put a pillow or a pad under the head and the shoulder so that you're not going as low. And breathe into the rib cage here. Letting go of the jaw, the shoulder. And in this place, draw that right elbow up towards the sky. And straighten that elbow. And doing some small circles here for the shoulder. And bringing that right hand down. I'm pressing up. Taking a pause here, making sure everything is okay. And if you need to adjust for the other side, it's helpful to have a couple of extra folded mats. And sliding that right hand under the left arm, coming down onto the right shoulder and the side of the head on the right side. And then breathing into the rib cage here, 5 breaths. Drawing that left elbow up and straightening the left elbow. And some circles here. And the other direction. And coming back to all fours. If at any point you want to take a pause, if the position is uncomfortable or notice part of you is feeling tweaked, then you're welcome to adjust, figure out the position that works best for you. And you can always rejoin, come back to what we're doing. So we're going to move on to straightening the right leg, straightening that right leg back on the toes, and moving back and forth over the foot. So curling that toes under, the knee is not locked, it's softly, it's straight, but it's not locked. Elbows are soft, but not locked. Just letting yourself vibrate a little bit here, a little bounce. Keeping the neck nice and long and the jaw soft. Coming to a pause. And raising that right leg up and down. We'll just move that leg floating in space up and down. Paying attention to the quality of the movement, smoothing the movement. And with that leg up, we're going to turn the leg out to the side, bringing that right knee up to towards the shoulder, and then back to a straight leg. Almost like a fire hydrant move for the doggy. And bringing that right leg down. And the right knee down, straightening the left leg. And again, this movement. The knees straight, kind of bouncing on the heel if we were standing. And coming to a pause. And in your next exhalation, drawing that left heel up and down. And drawing that left knee towards the left shoulder and back. Coming back to that left leg. We're going to draw that right foot back to meet the left and pressing back into downward dog. Letting yourself breathe, pressing back into this somewhat inverted position. We're going to make our way forward onto the hands, but draw that left knee towards the right hand and come down onto the left hip. Drawing that right knee out to the side, and we're going to be a little bit more on the left hand, on the left hip here. Now, if you find that this is uncomfortable for your range of motion for the knees, the hips, then it's helpful to sit on a bolster or a sofa cushion or a stool. So take a moment to really understand your body and figure out the position and posture that's best for you here. So this is called 90-90 in some places. And eventually, as we do these movements, the hips start to lubricate and the hips start to let go of residual tension. And you might find that you need less holding you up or keeping you off the floor. We're going to start first with the left hand by the left hip and start to do some circles here with your awareness at the left hip. Feeling the bone of the left hip as if you're drawing a circle with that bone. Maybe if it helps to imagine as if you have a crayon or a marker on the base of your sit bone, and you're trying to draw that circle there. Allowing the breath to come along for the ride. If you're able to, bringing that 3-part breath that we were practicing earlier. With the movement. Switching the directions of the circle. Shifting your awareness to the placement of the left hand, and as if there's a marker in the palm of the hand, and allowing the body to draw that circle, the shift from the thumb to the joints of the fingers to the outer palm to the heel of the hand. Notice how you might hold your breath when your awareness shifts. And notice the quality which you might be holding yourself or holding your body. Seeing if you can offer tenderness or smoothness, any slowing down. Switching the direction of the circle. You're welcome to go back and forth exploring between the hip and the left hand, the left hip, left hand. I'm going to have us shift our awareness a little bit to this right hip here. And notice the circle in space. Your right hip is probably not touching on the ground. It's okay if it's not. And just noticing what that circle is like for the right hip. And as you do that circle of the right hip, let that right elbow be free. So you can balance the awareness between the left hand, the left hip, the right hip, and the elbow, spreading that awareness between these 4 points in the body. And that hand, the hand is going to want to do some kind of movement with these 4 points. Let it be natural. Let it be individual to you. Sense and feel your body here. This is individual to you. We're going to pause now, reaching with this right hand towards the left, as if we're trying to reach towards the left side. And breathe into the ribs. See if you can do the 3-part breath here, breathing into the lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. And inhaling that right arm up, looking over towards the right, reaching with that right hand. And bringing that hand down to the right heel or in the area of the right heel, looking down. We'll pause here for 5 breaths, breathing into the ribs. And bringing the arm, the head, the body out of this position, we're going to come back to center. We're going to bring both hands behind us, bringing our weight back and our feet forward, bringing the feet together here, pausing here. And as you press the hands down into the floor, lift through the chest, pressing the knees down towards the earth. Again, engaging that three-part breath, you might notice that one area feels more prominent than the other, or more accessible. It helps to lift through the chest here, letting the front of the body be vibrant and lifted. And moving the body now so that we come onto this right hip, the right knee forward, right hand by the right hip, and then sliding that left knee back. If it's helpful for you, you can also try doing this with the left foot on the ground if that's less pressure on your knees, or finding some variation that's helpful. In addition to sitting a little higher, you can also bring a pad towards the inside of the left knee. So this is very much the movement and practice that is best for you here. So respecting what your body needs. Again, these circles of the right, of the sit bones, this time on the right side. You might notice a very big difference between the right and left side. Some parts of the body may also generate a more emotional quality. There might be one particular joint, one particular spot, that the quality shifts from physical to emotional or different. And that's part of this awareness. Shifting awareness now towards the right hand, circles around this palm. Keeping the chest just a little bit lifted here so we're not collapsing into the shoulder or putting due stress on the inner knee on the opposite side. We keep that chest lifted, we're keeping ourselves grounded a little bit more through the spine. And shifting the awareness to this left hip now. Its own circle, maybe free circle in space. And it might be not necessarily a circle, it might feel like a star or a line or a rectangle. Whatever you can do to smooth it out, it's sometimes helpful to do it a little slower. And what we're doing with these movements and the shifting of awareness is connecting the dots in our body and our mind and our spirit. You might notice now that this left elbow has got its movement that wants to come along for the ride here. It might feel very different than the other side, but really allowing these 4 places, right hand, right sit bone, left elbow, holding those places equally in your consciousness. And this left hand wants its own type of movement too, that translates through the arm. But no one particular spot is dominating your consciousness. And reaching over to the right, pausing here, breathing through the rib cage. Inhaling that left arm up. Looking towards the left, dropping that left hand towards the left heel. 3-part breath here. And bringing the hands behind you in this position, we're going to tilt the knees up. So we're facing towards the left. And if you're off your mat, just let yourself crab walk over. And as part of just the grounding here, we're going to very gently press through the feet and the hands, lifting the pelvis up and down. Do this about 5 times. Eventually lowering yourself down onto your back. Stretching the legs long, the arms long. And we'll do a rotation as our final movement of our practice this evening. Bringing the knees up towards the chest. The arms are stretched wide, shoulder height, palms up. And letting the knees fall towards the right. And breathing, pausing here with the breath, remembering your intention. And bringing the legs up. Falling over to the left. Feet down, stretching the legs long. And letting the body slide into Shavasana, which is this our integrative pose, bringing everything together for the evening here. And then we'll very gently make our way onto the side, pausing here on your side, making a pillow with your bottom arm and drawing the knees up towards the chest. And coming to sitting, taking a moment for the heart. If you'd like, you can come into a mudra with the fingertips together in front of the heart, allowing the breath to settle. Namaste, everyone.